wild place. I tell you that, man. I I really just be rambling on and off and everything else, and I just want to say one thing to people that are currently just like struggling with, for example, coming to terms with living your authentic self. Just do it. Who fucking cares if someone's like, oh, you can't be, dressing like this, talking like that, hanging with so and so, and dating so and so. Like, you should, as long as you're not hurting anybody and you're not, committing monstrosities and that sort of thing, you should be okay to just say what you want, do what you want. You know what I mean? Just go and do it. You know what I mean? A lot of people just like to just live their lives and they go out and they do it. You know what I mean? Like, shit, I can go on and on about the L word. Those ladies, all of them, man, all of them. The man, everybody was just going out and doing and living their lives. No matter if they were doing each other dirty, getting cheated on, cheating, serial cheating. I'm looking at you, Shane, bitch ass. I'm looking at you too, Bet, bitch ass. But that's besides the point, As long as you're not like them, I feel like you should be okay to just live your truth and everything. Why, why be in a box when you could just open it up and just walk out and just do something that's not, you know, unless if you like to be where you're at, as long as you're happy, really. But if you're really not happy, if you're really not filling it up, living it up, that sort of thing, what's the point? I don't see the point of that. I feel like just go out and try things, go out and do something. Going out wild and partying and everything else. That's all good. That's all good and gravy, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Lonely Corner Radio. I'm gonna start using radio instead of podcast radio is kind of, it has the similarities. I just like saying radio just because it reminds me of Vice City, man. I love Grand Theft Auto Vice City. That's one of my top 10 games of all time. Um yeah, and it's me, Gato. I hope y'all are doing well, doing lively, just living your truth, like I said in the beginning. You know what I mean? Just hanging out, having a good time, man. What's the point of living if you can't loiter in front of your favorite liquor store? You know what I'm saying? Why is that illegal? Why is it illegal to sleep in your own car? That makes no fucking sense, dude. No fucking sense. I feel like if people, complain about that kind of thing, they should just shut the fuck up and look elsewhere. You know what I mean? A lot of times, whenever people are bothered, quote unquote, by another person's actions, 9 times out of 10, that other person's actions isn't affecting them or anybody else's lives. They're just doing what they want to do, right? Sleeping in your car or being a child and selling lemonade in front of your house on your property, right? Or you're barbecuing with your family out in the park or anything, man. Shit, you could just be even walking around, and if you're a woman too, you know how it feels when you just have some random motherfucker being like, "Hey, baby, hola, mama chula," some nasty fucking mouth breather walks up to you and harasses the shit out of you. And to all you motherfuckers that be like, "Why don't you just say no?" You can't say no to these motherfuckers because they're just like fucking. I can't even compare them to children, right? They're just in their own fucking world, their own incompetent, immature world, right? Where you say no, right? They just turn into like a whole other fucking beast within a snap. And it usually, I mean, I don't gotta say it. You just look at the articles and everything, man. People be getting hurt and everything. It's fucking brutal. I just feel like people need to just mind their fucking business, like I said. Why I get especially bothered because I feel like growing up, I feel like in my life would have been a lot more simpler, or at least life is suffering, right? You're going to suffer no matter what you do with your life. You're always going to be growing and learning, no matter what, no matter if you're an adult and you have a PhD, right? You did everything, you got your car, your wife, your house. It's always going to be a new learning experience, right? So it's always important to keep that mind open and to be open to lessons and to and whatnot to learn, you know. But you're always going to suffer. Life is suffering. It's always a never ending cycle of suffering. And there's really nothing that anyone could have done in my life to prevent me from suffering, because even if I was sheltered, guess what? I'm still going to suffer, because then once I'm out of that safety net, that box, then that's when reality will just strike me like tenfold, right? And I can't do as much, right? Because I have to like learn everything, and then but I can't, right? Because then I'm just not fully capable of doing things on my own if I was sheltered, right? That's that's the whole point of them saying, right? You're always gonna suffer. It's always something. And I know it sounds fucking negative. I know I sound like a Debbie Downer, right? But hear me out, right? That's just life, right? If it's not uncomfortable, you're always gonna be, you know, barking like the dog. I don't know, man. If you can hear the dog, shout out to Panda, man. I love you, dude. Point being, at least in my experience, and I feel like everybody has this similar experience, right? Where if certain people that were in your life minded their fucking business, your life would have been, you wouldn't have suffered unnecessarily, right? Because that's always going to be there, right? That suffering, that growth, the growing pains, right? But there's so many instances in my life where if people just minded their fucking business, I wouldn't have dealt with that unnecessary backlash, right? Be punishments and um dealing with insecurities and everything else, right? I just feel like life would be simple, right? But it could never. It could never. That's why whenever I'm out and about and I'm like at a beach, it's like nighttime and the moon is full. I'm puffing on a menthol and I'm just enjoying my life, right? That's where I say it's worth it, right? After all this time growing and suffering, I feel like that's where it's at. And I feel like that's probably how a lot of y'all feel as well. Because if you can't have that kind of peace, then goddamn, what's the point? You know what I mean? What's the point of being around? I especially look at, especially with today's climate, I'm not gonna say this person's name, but I'm pretty sure y'all, if y'all been on TikTok, if y'all been on Twitter, Instagram, I'm pretty sure you know that there's these individuals, right, who just like to proclaim that they're alpha males and they're bringing back masculinity and all this other shit. And um it's it's so heartbreaking to just look at it and to see like how much of an influence these kinds of creators have, right? Because there's sane people like you and I, right, who where we look at this and go, well, this isn't normal. This person, if we just not give it enough attention, it'll eventually go away, right? However, there's on the flip side, right? You got especially the youth, right? The youth, or the ones who are still struggling, right? Who are in a vulnerable state of mind, can get warped back into this kind of mentality, and you just end up seeing the more and more of these quote unquote incels and all these other acronyms that you call these people, right? These young dudes, grown men, everybody else who's just caught up in this cycle of what it means to be a man and masculinity and everything else. And it's so it's sad. It's really sad. I mean, for everybody who doesn't know, I'm a woman. I'm a woman. I'm a gay woman, right? But I present as masculine, so I see the world different than my other women counterparts, right? Like I understand to a certain degree what people go through when they represent as masculine, and I've come to the conclusion today after seeing this one video where this woman points out that these types of dudes, right? They think that everything is like a war, right? Like they're in a constant competition to other men, that they have to be on the alert. They have to be on their 10 at all times and to always be in competition. And they can't let their guard down. Otherwise, they're not going to win. Whatever it is that they want to win, right? Whether it be a certain title in life, what possessions you got, and that sort of thing. And look, there's nothing wrong with wanting to up uplift yourself, getting yourself out of certain situations. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. I feel like that's amazing. That is phenomenal that people are out there trying to better themselves, right? Whether they're like, going back to school, eating right, the gym, learning how to socialize, and going on, right? Anything to get past whatever it is that you're in, right? Because if you get too comfortable, you end up being miserable, right? So that I feel like, okay, it's good to have that message out there. But then it becomes really concerning and upsetting whenever you flip the script of like, no, everybody else is your enemies, when that's not the case. Right? Like you I feel like it's gonna sound gnarly. I'm sorry, I'm laughing because the dog won't stop barking. Uh I feel like you have fucking panda, dude, this dog wilding. You have competition in life, and that competition is yourself. You really can't, at the end of the day, you have yourself, right? And if you're not fully content with yourself, then that's when the war inside your head becomes more louder and stronger, right? And to amplify that times 10 by feeling the need that you have to be in competition with every other person around you, right? Whether it be your colleagues, your family, your friends, especially, right? If you're constantly comparing yourself to everybody else, and right, wondering like, oh, why am I this age and not be there yet, right? And then you're just eventually you just become a menace. You become a menace not only to the people around you that care and love about you, but ultimately to yourself. And that's not cool. That's really not cool, right? Like, it really do be a dark and crazy place. I especially feel about this when you get bullied and everything. Like, it's gonna sound fucking crazy or fucked up, but I understand full and well bullying because like I said, I'm gay. So I understand that people are not gonna be fucking nice to you about that kind of shit. Like, it's not, it's not, it's not it. It's not it. As much as I reminisce about the past, whether it be through, from back when I was in grade school or like in college, right? I do I do miss those memories and reminiscing, whether it be through looking at photographs or listening to certain songs. That's it's a nice feeling, a nice warm feeling, right? That old sense of security that you used to have during those times. But at least for me, speaking for myself, I would not want to go back to those times. I do not want to go back. As much as I miss the 2000s, it was not a cool time to be gay in the 2000s. It wasn't it. It really, as much as people like to say like, "Damn, I wish I could go back to the 2000s so I can like do X, Y, and Z." And I feel that way too sometimes. I'm not gonna front. I wish I can go back to the old hot topic and buy more CDs and get the merch that I wanted, right? Or go back to watching VH1 music videos or the Toonami at 2 in the afternoon, right? I miss all that, but I don't miss everything else that was associated with it, which is the pain, the suffering, the growth that I had to endure, right? And a major factor of what I was going through was the bullying. I do not want to go back to that shit. I don't want to. No, no, no. And I feel like people can relate to that as well. It's not it wasn't pleasant. No, no, no. It definitely isn't. I feel like even today, like a lot of what has happened in the world, there's a lot of major improvements. Definitely not in the recent times with, Supreme Court and what they're trying to do next and everything, right? We're all just at the edge of our seats like what they trying to do now. You know what I mean? And I completely understand that, right? That's right, but to 2000s, right? I don't think I want to go back to those times because of the bullying and everything else. That's not cool. The shit that I had to endure, how lonely I felt during those times. YouTube was still up and running, but there wasn't that many queer content creators during those times compared to now, right? Everybody, and it's so beautiful to see that. I really do think that as negative and toxic social media can be, it can also be positive, right? Like you look at TikTok, you look at YouTube and excuse me, Instagram. I'm very happy at least there is some change and some acceptance in the past couple decades. I'm very happy for that, but damn, where was I going with this? Fucking bullying. No, 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 no. That shit was shit was menacing. That shit was menacing. The 2000s. No, no, no. People, it was menacing. But what, at least for me, I grew up to be the person that I am today. A little bit more resilient and everything else because of the bullying that I had to endure when I was, those times, a preteen and a teenager in those times. I just be rambling off the deep end. That's pretty much my whole thing. I really just do be rambling. When I would I feel like I could say it. Um for context, I've been sober as of today of the recording, which is August August 6th. I am now 49 days sober from drinking. It's the longest that I've been sober since I caught COVID back in 2020. When I had COVID, I was dying, so I couldn't keep anything in my system. So obviously, like I couldn't even keep alcohol in my system. So after I had endured it and recovered from it as I was recovering, I definitely stayed away. But then it falls back. It really does, unfortunately, and it came back. But now, as of 2022, I am putting in the effort to not let it consume my life anymore. I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to hurt myself, right? I want to be in the right state of mind and happy and healthy too. The partying's cool, but if you don't know how to end it, it really will catch up to you eventually. It's not cool. It's really not. But I feel like as someone who is antisocial and introverted, I definitely do have a hard time talking with people. But one of the things that I do to get myself up, at least in terms of the socialization, for example, I try my best to make conversations. Learning to maintain eye contact and learning to message people, like actually call people back. I unfortunately have such a hard time texting or calling people back. It's not, to everybody, to all my loved ones, man, I'm so sorry. I cannot reach the phone sometimes, but I sometimes just have such a hard time struggling with myself that I can't even pick up the phone. You know what I mean? And it sucks because then I'm at work and I have to pick up the phone. So then on my free time, it's so hard and everything else. But I actually am putting in the effort to learn how to talk and to communicate again because it really is kind of, in a way, it's, on one hand, it's part of growing up. You really can't catch up with your homies like how you used to back when you were all in grade school. You know what I mean? Now we all have jobs, people are getting married, people are thinking about settling elsewhere or starting a family and moving up in the world. And so it's understandable why we cannot communicate as how we used to back when we was just, classmates, right? But I feel like even then, when someone does put in the effort to make the communication, for example, with me, right? I need to learn how to respond immediately as soon as I have downtime or call back, learn to express myself whenever I'm feeling lonely or I'm feeling down on myself, to communicate with those who actually are there for me, the ones who actually love me and that will actually do everything for me, right? It's pretty down to, not down, but it's pretty heartbreaking that I had to do this to people, unfortunately. But like I said, I am maintaining this kind of open dialogue, just I like talking. As quiet as I am, actually, I just love talking. So I hope to in the in the future, right? Cuz we're fucking shit. We are almost done with 2022. It is now August. So we have like what, 4 months roughly until 2023. So we got to, at least for me, I got to be able to put in the effort, put in the work of the friendship and everything else, right? I can't be stuck being shy all the time. The fuck? Okay. So, to kind of not derail, but kind of shift over things onto this latest segment that I've decided to do. So, this idea of mine came to me maybe like some time ago, like maybe like a couple of weeks ago, and I've decided to try and see if this is something that the listeners, would want to listen to, and to see how responsive this will be moving forward. But I want to introduce you all to this new segment that I'm going to be putting on the show. It's going to be called Getting High and Low, where I pretty much, there's this thing on Instagram. It's called NGL, which stands for Not Gonna Lie. It's this app that you put a link in your story. Anybody can click on it and they can just write anything anonymously. So I just put in, if you got confessions, if you need advice, if you just want to speak in the ether or talk to me and ask me questions, I put that link on my story. And so if this goes well, if this is well received, then I feel like I want to keep this permanent moving forward. And the response that I got was pretty decent. I have in total 7 questions that I gotten, and I just want to be able to answer, and hopefully this helps. Hopefully I'm able to give people whatever sense of peace and happiness, right, with whatever it is that they got going for yourselves. So here we go. One of the first questions that I got was opinion on dating a coworker, and in the little quotations, it's gay girl asking. Shit. Okay, look, you have to understand that there's 2 things, right? Whenever you're trying to date in the workplace, right? You have to keep it professional. Whether you're gay or not, right? You have to keep it professional. You have to understand like dynamics, the where you stand, right? Because there is a power imbalance, right? That's when shit hits the fan, really, right? If you're a manager and the person you're trying to pursue is your associate that's working under you, then that's a really odd thing to do, and that's something that I would strongly advise that you don't do, right? But there's one thing, right? And being gay, right? You have to test the waters, not just with that person that you're trying to pursue, but any like the work environment in general, right? Because you don't want to be trying to hit up this person and then have this person be like, "No, I don't swing that way, right?" Cool, break things off, and then you end up with a hostile work environment because that person told everybody like, "Oh, so and so's trying to get at me, queer," right? And then it becomes hostile and everything, right? Like that's not cool, dude. That shit's not fun, right? You don't want to be in that predicament. So I I strongly advise that you try your best to test the waters, right? How does the work environment feel in general? And more importantly, is your like management like not openly prejudiced, right? Because the way that I'm looking at it, right, pursuing is one thing, but like it's also like a safety matter too. Like you have to like I just want you to be careful, you know what I mean? I don't want you to like be at work and then just like fucking end up like hating it just because like you end up with like people like shitting on you for that sort. I mean, it'll happen regardless. Like not to discourage you, but like in general, right? Like in life as a queer person, like it's bound to happen, unfortunately. But I just more bleh, more importantly, it is important that you are not in harm's way, right? You can I just don't want you to be in harm's way, right? So, but on the flip side, let's say you reel this person in and y'all are dating, woo, haha type, right? Everything's going good and gravy, right? Then I wish you the best, dude. That's the bomb. Like, I especially feel whether you're young or old, like just go for it, dude. What's stopping you? What's going? What's gonna not? What is stopping you? Yeah, what is stopping you? Right? Sometimes in life, you just gotta say fuck it and just do something, right? Just be like, fuck it. What's the worst they can do is say no, right? Honestly, they could just say no, and then that's that, right? They could just either, yeah, right, flip on you, or they could just like pretend it never happened, right? You don't know unless you try it out. So I recommend trying it out, you know what I mean? And then let's say y'all are, dating and shit, and then yeah, that's it. You know what I mean? As long as y'all are not hurting yourselves or you're not hurting anybody, there's really nothing wrong with doing that sort of thing, especially like I said if you're young. Just give it a try. Life is short. Like I said in the beginning, life is so fucking short. Just give it a go. You know what I mean? It's not it you know, why not? Why not? You know what I mean? Um as long as you're, respect boundaries and all that sort of thing. If that person is queer too, you have to know that as well, right? You don't want to be having that awkward conversation like, "Hey, um I'm not gay." No, no, no. No, no, no. That's my take on it. Let's see. Next question. It is gay? Yeah, I'm gay. I'm a lesbian. Um yeah, just lesbian. Just I yeah, a gay lady represent. Next question. Do you like to eat apples and bananas? It's that song, right? Like to eat apples and bananas. It's that song. It has to be that song. I feel like the no, not the Wiggles. Someone sang this. It's a quote. I don't know. Like I watched the Wiggles growing up, but I wasn't too much of a Wiggle stan, if you will. Uh, but I would still show up to their shows. Like if they collaborate with someone like System of a Down or something, I'd be in the fucking pit with those. Me and the homies are gonna be in the pit with those matching outfits like the Wiggles got. We're gonna be in the fucking pit, circled, wall of death, everything, man. What are you talking about? Next question is, do you use pronouns? Yeah, I do. Like I said before, I'm a gay lady. I'm masculine presenting as well, so people will assume that I'm a dude, right? So I always get that. Which I don't mind really. I honestly don't mind any I don't mind any pronouns as long as they're respectful, but generally speaking, like in my day-to-day life, if I generally go by she her pronouns, but like I said, if you're respectful, you can go ahead and use he him, they them, or any other pronouns that are respectful towards me. You know what I mean? Because I'd be damned if I get hit with, "Oh, so you go by it." Fuck you. I I hate this climate. I hate people, man. But yeah, no, I be using pronouns and shit. That's the kind of pronouns I use. If people came up to me and was like, "Hey, what's up, boss?" or "Hey, queen," "Hey, king," that kind of I take it all. I really don't mind any ones like back in the day. It used to upset me, right, when I was beginning to cross dress and everything else. But as I grew older, I just stopped fighting back and I got comfortable with it. You know what I mean? Like if someone comes up to me and calls me a dude and uh, a transgender and trying to insult me with those kinds of words, right? I learned to not let it get to me, right? But I also understand that there's people out there who are genuinely curious, right, and don't know how to approach, at least approach me, for example, right? But um, yeah, to set it to the record, man. Yeah, I do use I use she her pronouns, and but any other pronoun is respectful. You know what I'm saying? And but that's me, right? When it comes to right, I'm like spacing out and shit. Okay. I'm just going to say this, right? If you misgender somebody, right? And you use this whole fucking argument of, "Oh, I have a gay friend and she doesn't get offended when I call her bro or he or this and that," right? No, that's fucked up. Accept that you misgendered somebody and move forward. Learn how to use that person's pronouns correctly, and that's that, right? Just because I, an individual lesbian gay bitch, don't care about pronouns, like whatever pronouns people throw at me, doesn't mean that you get to use that excuse of, "Oh, well, I know Gato and Gato doesn't care about, if I call her a he," right? No, that's a bitch move, dude. You have to be willing to take accountability for your actions and move forward with using that person that you misgendered their right pronouns. Plain and simple. Because it's not play pretend. It's someone's identity. It's someone's own autonomy, and you're trying to what, disrespect it because you don't want to own up that you made a mistake. It's not cool. That's a bitch move, man. Take it, move forward, and learn how to use it. It's I don't know why people make such a fucking big deal about pronouns and shit. I hate seeing those fucking any post on social media, motherfuckers be like, "I use normal pronouns," or "I use no pronouns." Okay, what the fuck how do you talk? How do you talk if you don't use pronouns? Like I was reading this fucking article on fucking Twitter. It was like I think it was some school in some state down south where they barred pronouns in the schools. So how the fuck do you talk to each other? Cause you can't even use they them, right? So what the fuck do you address the kids? You go by, "Hey little it's," "Hey it's and it's," instead of girls and girls. How the fuck do you talk, man? Anyways, yeah, that's my pronouns. Message being, don't be cringe, respect people. Plain and simple, dude. Alright, next question. Will Lord Farquaad ever come back, bitch? Oh man. Oh, I know that's funny. Um my hair, if you know me, like, or if you've seen me IRL, like you'll see that my hair is naturally curly. And at one point in my life, I had this like I was trying to like grow bangs, but also have the back grown out and everything. And but ultimately, like my hair grows out. My hair grows really fast, right? So as it was growing and it was, coming, and I have heavy curls, so it was like coming down and everything. I had somebody in my life just be like, "You look like Lord Farquaad," and then I had to like double take on the fucking photo, and I was just so devastated. That's so traumatizing to have someone be like, "You look like Lord Farquaad, that motherfucker from Shrek." Bitch. As of now, I mean, back in the fucking after COVID, like I went in my insane era, so that I ended up shaving my head, and ever since then, I've just loved the feeling of having that weight of heavy hair off of my head. So I stopped like caring about that sort of thing. So as of right now, though, my hair's still short, but I am trying to grow it out just a little bit. I do miss maintaining my curls. I do grow really nice curls, so I hope to, if I have enough patience to grow it out, to at least have it to be like up in my head, you know. Um, Nothing too crazy, really. I really can't do. I mean, I would love to straighten out my hair, but I don't think I would want to damage it as much as that. So I don't know. That's just it, really. Anyway, next questions. What makes someone a manipulative person? This is a really interesting question. Um, Full disclaimer, first and foremost, I am not a therapist. I am not a psychotherapist. I am not a counselor. I am not a mental health professional, let's say. I'm none of those things. So, what I'm about to say, do not take it like it's facts or that it's textbook knowledge, right? Like, it's not. Um, this is just. I'm just a bitch with a mic. I'm just rambling. Okay, just take it like that. But to the person who asked me what makes someone a manipulative person, it's, at least from what I've seen growing up and encountering many different walks of life, when someone manipulates to get what they want, they come from a place where they are ultimately selfish and only care about themselves, right? Everything has to go their way. If it doesn't go their way, they end up becoming the just doing the most just until they get what they want, whether it be right relationship wise, like you want your partner to do something but you can't, right? So then you, the manipulator, end up trying to guilt trip people. The thing that I see manipulators, that they guilt trip people into doing the things that they want to do, especially in relationships, right? Like, you don't want to see, from what I've seen, you're insecure as fuck and you don't want to see your partner thrive. So you end up with these fucking tactics, right, where you don't want your significant other to hang out with a certain group of people, right? Their friends, for example, right? And you end up seeing that this person's like, well, you can go and hang out with them, but just know that it hurts me and I love you. I would never do that to you if I were you. I don't know why you do this. Why can't you hang out with me, right? It's always some bullshit like that. It's always something where they're trying to coerce this person to doing things, right? It's also because of a lack of maturity, right? Going back to selfishness, right? They believe that the world revolves around them. And so everything has to go their way. Everything has to go like in their pattern. They need control. That's usually what it also stems through, is that they need control. They, looking back, right, when you look at the psyche of a child, it is so delicate, right? Anything that happens, like any series of events that happens to a child during those times when they are growing in those critical moments, right? It it becomes so damaging when they see what they grow up with, right? If they see their parent or any figure in their life, right, becoming passive aggressive, or they see them gaslighting and trying to, control this person, trying to control the situation, right? Um, it That can play into a role of what makes a person manipulative, right? And I know it's crazy to see it in terms of relationships, but it happens so often, and I've seen it growing up, um, high school, college, even today. The more I interact, the more that I see that there's these like crazy relationships that I've seen. Um, you see the partner trying to prey on their significant other's insecurities and trying to, you know, control their partner by using fear or lying and denying whenever they get caught up in something. And ultimately, it correlates with being gaslit, right? You don't want, the manipulator doesn't want the other person to know of their actions and everything, so they will just change the subject. They'll try to manipulate, try to gaslight and take control of what's going on and everything. And it's not okay. It's not. um I feel like this is probably a reason why I personally don't like to, one of the reasons why I don't like to interact so easily with people is because I've seen this time and time again, right? Relationships, romantic or platonic, right? Because this could also be your friend, right? You, for example, don't want to do this certain activity with your friend, and then this friend is upset and they end up trying to coerce you into doing the thing that they want to do by making you feel bad, right? They're guilt tripping you. They're like, well, I mean, we are here and we might as well just do this. I mean, I did wear this outfit for you, but if you don't want to, right? It's such a trip. It really is such a trip, and it's exhausting. It's exhausting once you see that pattern. It's That's one of the signs. That's a lot of the signs, really. If you are in that position where you are with somebody romantic or platonically and they are manipulative, right? Passive aggressive gaslighting, they're guilt tripping you and everything, all the things that I mentioned before. Do yourself a favor. Leave. What's the point? Life is too short to be hanging around with insecure ass people. That's not your life. That's not how life should be. Hell no. Like, imagine your life flashing right before you die, and all you can think about is hanging out with this asshole who took back your best years of life. Fuck that, dude. Fuck that. This is the this is the last question that I got. This is a person asked me thoughts on jealous slash possessive men. That shit is outrageous. I don't see why you could. It's so okay. This is a little bit of a story time, but like I said, I'm a masculine gay bitch. So growing up, when I was coming out, I remember when I was coming out, I came out since fucking middle school, right? So like that's like way back in the day. Now I think about it, but um, I remember there was like people who just weren't cool with it, but the ones that were cool with it, right, they stuck around, right? But in this one person, right, there's always this one friend, right, who was in a relationship or something like along those lines, right, where end up telling me like, hey, I can't really hang out with you anymore. Why? Oh, because my boyfriend thinks something gonna happen between us and everything, even though that was not the case, right? Because you're my friend and I'm not gonna do that with my friend, right? But it's it's heartbreaking to see that from that point of view. You know what I mean? And I don't like that at all, that people can just end up being in a situation where they get the best years of their life taken away because they are with this insecure asshole who doesn't want to see their partner thrive, essentially. Like, you really want to hold someone back from growing, from learning, from just socializing with their long term pals, just because you feel like something's gonna happen in terms of like them just leaving you for that friend, that person. And I mean, granted, right, there are situations, scenarios where a person will end up leaving that person, right, for that person, that friend that they warned them, right? But ultimately, no, like it's all in your head, dude. It's really all in your head. You this these types of assholes, right? They are so insecure that they allow their insecurities to take over their lives. And that's fucking sad. That's really fucking sad. Rather than working on yourself, working on reflecting your problems and your ego and everything else, right? You allow it to control your life and you allow yourself to become this miserable, incapable person of just an asshole. You know what I mean? Why would you I don't see why you could just do that to somebody. Jealousy is a normal thing. It's a normal thing, right? I'd be lying if I said I wasn't jealous of my previous partners, but to the point where you don't want them to have friends or you check on their social medias, you restrict them from hanging out. It's That's a really fucked up way to live. To I'd even argue like if you don't really love your partner like that. If you love your partner, you would let them thrive. You would let them grow. You would let them be the kind of person that they want to be and not have it be so that they are trapped in a box, right? This enclosure that you're putting them in. It really is not okay. I don't know how people can live with themselves knowing that they shut their partners in. I really don't know. Um Possessiveness. I mean, people can be possessive and shit, right? God damn, dude, that's fucked up. Like I said, it's a fucked up way of living, and I don't like looking back at it. Like I remember just like growing up and seeing these types of relationships all around me, and for the longest time, I've just like been single, and to this day, I don't know, I've been here and there, but single for the longest because that's ultimately such a thing that I don't want to be. I don't want to be involved with, I'm very grateful that I've had that have never had that encountered in my life in my past, but I don't like it when I see it happen around me. It makes me My thoughts on jealous and possessive men is that if you really love the person that you're with, if you really care about that person's well-being and you caring about them having their own autonomy, you wouldn't be the jealous and possessive dude that you are. Dude, man, woman, anybody, right? Anybody that you're with, it's really fucked up to like, because I can't imagine myself being in that position where I'm just gonna restrict my partner from hanging out with certain people or not interacting out in public or having a social media and everything else, right? Without, right, like that's not a way of life. That's not something that is morally correct. It's not a way of living. You know what I mean? And jealousy and possessiveness, well, jealousy, it's normal in and of itself, right? Especially when you're in a relationship. It's normal. It's a normal thing, right? But is it healthy? No, it's not really healthy if you allow it to truly if you truly let it indulge you and you let it absorb your life and everything else, then it's gonna fuck you over to the end, dude. I don't know how else to say it to you, but you're really gonna end up having a bad time when you're jealous and possessive, because then you're always on the edge. That's what it is you're always gonna be on the edge because you cannot control a person like that. You really cannot. No matter how introverted they are, they're gonna have friends, they're gonna have family, they're gonna have to go to work and interact with people. They wanna meet people maybe one day, and it's not always gonna be you, and that should be okay, right? Granted, right? There are scenarios where the person that is hanging out with your partner ends up trying to get at them and they end up leaving you for that, right? Not to say that those scenarios don't happen, because it does happen, right? But that's not always the case. There is always going to be That's not the case. That's really not the case, cuz you're just living in your head, truly. If you take a couple steps back out of your head and you see reality for what it truly is, you'll know that That's not the way the world works, essentially. That's not how people usually function and carry themselves out, right? It's not. It's just not. I I especially feel for this type of topic because I've seen this time and time again as I've been growing up and growing, and I know for a fact I'm never gonna not. I'm always gonna see this type of issue arise in my life, and unfortunately, it's always gonna come back to me and always gonna come haunt the people that I love and everything else. However, cannot cannot look away. You know what I mean? I feel like if you're in that position, right, where I don't know, if I were some people, I would just run. Like I said, it's normal to feel jealousy and everything else, but it's not normal to restrict your your partner from growing and being the person that they are. Like, how fucking shitty are you to allow that to, be your thing? I don't know, man. That's just my take on it. That's really my take, and that's all the questions that I have for getting high and low. I want y'all to let me know in the comments or you DM me. What do you guys think about this? Did you guys enjoy this? It's just some heavy questions that I had in the end. Pretty heavy, but I love answering these types of questions. I love conversations. I love conversing with y'all and having y'all listen to me. Again, I hope that you guys are able to tell me how this went, and thank you very much for listening and all the support that I've gotten so far. I know that I have not been the best when it comes to uploading, but as of now, I am now more dedicated to uploading more episodes and becoming more consistent with my work and my craft, because this is something that I've always wanted to do from a young age. I've always wanted to have my own radio show, have my own TV show, everything, just talking to people, talking, just all that. I love doing that, and I love answering y'all's questions. Like I said, let me know what y'all think about in the comments. If this is this something that you want to see again, getting high and low, right? And if so, you know, I will try my best to, like I said, keep consistent. And I feel like moving forward, if this does continue, with this segments, I would like to have everyone's answers be sent to me via Instagram or Twitter. Both of them are going to be under the handle Gato Toby. That's GATOTOBEY. At Instagram, Twitter, and just like I said, let me know what y'all think. And yeah, yeah, I'm really happy that I'm out here doing this, and I hope y'all are having a great night or a great day, whatever time y'all hear this. I hope y'all are doing well, doing lively. Stay safe, be safe. It's getting more crazier by the day out here, and yeah, this is Gato from Lonely Corner Radio, and I'm out.